cut ham, Malone hoodies, you amid? Flemmo said to get straight to it cause Destot has gone in a strange mood. That means she'll be making a new artefact. Now, a while back, as a joke, I forced my way into the Dimension of Destiny using my considerable cosmic force as an entity of chaos. Once in, I started writing rude words on the inside of the dwarves' skulls, so that double entendres work as artefact names. The Kevin are playing. As a dabble in everything, I can't be sure what it'll be exactly, but it looks like it'll be clothing of some sort, as she's claimed a clothier's workshop by whittling on it. This act of dominance has nothing to do with my interference and is down entirely to the way Phlegm made them. Nobody tell him. Anyway, while we let Destot get to it, I should probably explain why you're getting to hear my dulcet tones rather than gargling phlegm. Our good Mr. Crevice got hit by a random, could have happened to anybody, completely not tipped off by me, drug search. From those lovely lot down at the Deific Enforcement Bureau. Turns out, as a level 4 multi-dimensional being of incalculable omniscience, I guess the dial doesn't go that low, he is required by law to be in ownership of at least 3 congregations worth of mild to mumpy hallucinogenic substances. Which I've told him on no less than 15 occasions. When I've run out of mine. But no worries, a few days in the pokey and he'll be out right as rain. So yeah, you got me till then. You lucky lot. Before we start proper, just look at this little weirdo. She's listening to music. There ain't any music. Never mind, she's part of the hazy attics. Hallucinogens will do that to you. Oh, Destot is done. She's made a vest. Tallinn Dam, the drum of mouths. I see my handiwork is still at large. What's this though? Covered in little bits of wood, pebbles and gemstones? Isn't a vest something you wear under other things? And it's spiky? Anyway, she's got a picture of some dwarf called Serol Blowsack. You won't believe this, but that had nothing to do with me. Then there's a wooden plate. Again, this is a vest, and it's decorated with an image. Doesn't say what of, let me just... Blimey! So, it relates to the storing of a mug somebody made, apparently. But let's just say the image isn't very anatomically correct. Maybe I overdid it. Well, here's Mr. Blowsack. He seems like a stolid little bloke. Strong, intuitive, focused, can tell a rectangle from a square. Which makes sense as he's a member of the squad Phlegm's always harping on about. The barricaded nails. Oh, and he values peace, which I take to mean he appraises it, and not very highly given how prolific the nails have been. Doesn't seem to know his face is on a vest now, unless melting stuff is how he shows excitement. Maybe Destot has kept it to herself. Here she is, a legendary weaver now. That's got to be a title she's given herself. And yeah, I don't see her parading it round. Stuffed it in a box and carried on with her day. Oh, she must have had a crush on him. Let's see. No, never met him. Not even a passing acquaintance. Dwarves. Oh, look, it's old Otung Basin. This was third pile on the left, 6 beasts down, labelled guttering, scared of heights, failure. I never actually meant to let it out. Just had to move the stack to make room for my ice cream and accidentally knocked the stack of beasts over after inadvertently undoing all the clasps and picking all the padlocks by mistake. Anybody could have done it. This little picture doesn't do it justice, which is probably why Phlegm spends so much time drawing them himself. I don't remember its one eye looking so suspect, but I suppose you can catch any number of things from these scummy Kevin waters. Seems much happier here than in our freezer though. Oh, what in the name of Phlegm is this thing? An etting, eh? Good job Mr. Crevice can draw people, else that might have looked daft. But don't worry, this is all pre-recorded footage, so I'm not doing any of the controlling. I'm not to be trusted after channel glazes apparently. But this is still first watch, so you're getting my honest to godness reaction. Not that there seems to be much to react to. Turns out a two-headed woman in a leaf poncho ain't up to much in the way of fighting, even if they are gigantic. Good Phlegm they're beating on her. Can we show this? Well, it's over. Just this little puddle left where she was. And even that's been cleaned up now. Oh, we're looking at the hospital. Does that mean somebody got injured? No, just washing off the blood. And even that's been cleaned up now. Oh wait, more warriors. Maybe they're... no. Bigger they are, the harder it is to get the stains out, I guess. That's it. Just leave the soap on the floor in the muck. Dwarves. Here's 87-year-old Thighcut. He looks to be trying to build a wall, while standing exactly where the wall needs to go. Yep, says here in Phlegm's notes that he noticed Thighcut standing here doing nothing a few days before he started recording, so I should say something funny. Bumhole. Thighcut seems my kind of dwarf. Values leisure time, quick to love and shameless, which probably explains why he's bunking off, rather than doing the wall. Of course Phlegm would see this as some sort of glitch. There's a deity in desperate need of 3 congregations worth of hallucinogens. As for Thighcut, seems like his skiving stint must come to an end. Can't say I ever dodged a job so hard I dehydrated myself, but that says more about me than it does this legend. There we are, job's been cancelled and he's away. Get yourself a frosty one, you've earned it. Oh, what's this? Seems the fortress has been graced by this tall glass of sap. Betha Amelie Bicana. Oh, he's an elf. Singing away in the tavern in this cliffside cavity. Oh, more notes. Listening with... And I hate trees with their stupid branches. Dwarves have got the right idea, burn them all. My Phlegm, seems to be some backstory I'm missing here. Well, the dwarves seem to be enjoying it. Oh, here we go. More of the long-eared blighters. Amu Athave Idala. Can't imagine they're going to have much to trade. If I remember rightly, they make all their stuff out of wood, no? That seems like a fire hazard for a race of beings that use magma to smelt stuff. Well, it looks like we'll be taking a look anyway. That seems like a bit of a security problem. That any trade caravan can wander in whenever it likes, but what do I know? Quite a bit as it happens. But Phlegm would pitch a fit if I dared tell him his dimension of destiny is built wonky. Right, so we're watching this cat now, which Phlegm has decided is important because it killed all these rats. Which I suppose is an awful lot of rats, but says to me more about the cleanliness of the fort than the prowess of the cat. Killing rats is what cats is for. Show me that same picture, but a rat has taken down a dozen cats, and I might be impressed. Oh, hang on, there's notes for this too. Oh, good him, this is an essay. Let me just... You what? Right, in a nutshell, Phlegm got all poetic, started talking about blood in the river grass and dappled sunlight, all because of a cat. So he's decided that such an epic endeavour has made this moggy deserving of a name. Something which I gather only happens here if you perform an act of martial prowess or live in the special hill. Then we've got some heavily scribbled out names, which I think means he didn't want me to read them, but I can just make out Excalibur, Meowderer, enemy AC 130 above. That doesn't even make any sense. But he settled on this. He explains arsenic is an ingredient in rat poison, which was a good starting point but sounded too unfriendly. So he finished it off with the Cholas, because by a happy accident, Nicholas is already a name. Arsenicholas. There is no indication in his notes that he noticed. Oh, here we go. That elf Betha is speaking to the bigwig of Hammerlock. Who were? Says he wants the dwarves to keep their tree cutting down to 25 this year. Wasn't he the one singing about hating them? Why does he care? Oh, he raised the number without being asked. And if I'm not mistaken, he called Moldath a butcher with a wink. Think you might need a new job there, fella? Or, I suppose, how can an arbicidal maniac cause more damage to trees than as a diplomat expressly requesting more lumber mills? My interest is piqued, Mr. Amila Bicana. Show me on the doll where the shrubbery hurt you. Oh, now Kylob's gone into a strange mood. This is fun. The keen-eyed of you will have noticed that Kylob is actually Dastot's friend, so he might have been a bit jealous of her making that vest for Serol earlier. He's an adequate stone cutter, and he's teased out some pungent oils from the scent gland at the base of his tailbone to rub all over one of the stoneworkers' workshops. Add to that, his hands are full of gypsum, and you can guess he's doing something with stone. Given he spends most of his time around drunken dwarves and one of his desperate needs is to pray, I'm expecting something vaguely club-shaped. Let's skip ahead and see what he does. This Tunnymac, the goldenrod quill. Well, you can't get them all. Weird little thing. It's a figurine of a load of dwarves. They're supposed to represent the foundation of Hammerlock. Then they themselves are holding an image of dwarves in donkey bone, which relates to the foundation of Metal Folded in year 1. That's this little hillocks up here next to the capital. It would appear that our Kylob was originally from here, or at least, first we hear of him he was here, before moving almost immediately to Hammerlock. No sign of him before year 25, suddenly appears out of nowhere with no family or friends, and we're supposed to believe he's not a serial unaliver. We're on to you, Kylob, shifty little Snod. Good Phlegm looks like mole traders. Bloody hairy ones too. Minat Nenny Cortil. An upstanding human man if ever I saw one. Bad with words, sickly, quick to despair and not creative. Balanced out by his value in law and being able to tell where his body is without looking. Gather round, ladies. Get your very own hairy flincher. It's not a man, it's a catfish. Wait, bad with words? The human-centred trader who's a novice in all the skills a trader needs to have, and he's bad with words? Has Phlegm got this on easy or what? Oh, and we're straight to a wedding now. Avaz and Doren. I get the impression that this is a big deal, what with Phlegm's notes being covered in love hearts and little doodles of bugle-wielding cherubs. Yeesh. Oh, hang on, Avaz. Isn't he that bloke that spent years moping around the place? Phlegm kept mentioning he tried everything to cheer him up, gave him unlimited leisure time even, when all he needed was a pig as a pet and to let off some steam in the military. And look at him now, level-headed dwarf facing a future of marital bliss and the possible pitter-patter of perfectly podgy little feet. Oh, right, it's kind of nice. I'll give you this one, Phlegmo, even if you doodle like a 12-year-old girl. Oh dear. Right, Phlegmo, how'd you get out of this one, eh? Here they come and... No. What? This some kind of goblin hokey cokey? Hang on, here they are. Couple of goblin snatchers. We're following Ongo by the looks of it. Badly named these things, because what they're snatching is kids, not goblins. Cool, look at them go. Her experience as a gelder doing her no good whatsoever here. Sneaking her way back. And she's gone. Good riddance. That means we're following Zom now. Ruthless itch. You should probably wash more. Or ever. Oh, and someone's got her number. Nearly got away, but not so lucky. And that was Obok, a member of the Barricaded Nails. Currently running around on the surface with his member very much unbarricaded, if you catch my drift. He should go get himself some trousers before he catches his. Oh, and did I just see? I did. They've only gone and caught one of the goblins in a cage trap. Ooties here is going to be a guest at Hammerlock for the rest of their natural life, I'd guess. Good spatial sense. That'll come in handy in that little cell. Oh, it's the wine bottle holder. Quamoon? I thought Phlegm said it was called Jeff. Oh well, this one I lost on purpose. Imagine trying to bring girls round and there's this dirty great monster stood in the corner of the room dribbling round a Merlot. Puts him off something fierce. I still think he'll thank me for it. Eventually. If he ever gets over his phobia of women. And he said it was a family heirloom, but that only counts for stuff, right? Nobody gets the will read out for their old granny and hears, "And to Eustace, I leave Godzilla's cousin." Oh, Jeff's found himself some serpentman. If it dies now, this is nothing to do with me. Do you hear me? I'm controlling that. Actually, let's just slip away now, before anything happens. Yeah, moving on. Hey, looks like Hammerlock's got himself a new migrant. Just the one? That's not suspect at all. Dusim Zagodzalban, Grip Banner. Another valuer of peace. He'll do well in the military. Though he's a talented woodcutter, maybe Phlegm can put him to work pleasing that elf. Guess we'll see. Looks a bit off to me, to be honest. Nice thick dwarven beard, but that do is awful. Looks like a short bowl cut. Dodge the humans even. Says he disdains merriment, and with a haircut like that, I can imagine he ain't comfortable hearing people laughing nearby. Oh, he shaved. Can he hear me? If you can hear me, go into the temple and slap the alpaca on the bottom. Well, that just proves everybody hates alpacas. Right then, Phlegm's notes are pretty shouty at this point, because he was looking forward to showing this off and the DEB only gave him 10 minutes to get dressed from his bath, which he used to write these notes. Left the house sudsy. The general gist is that the inner garden with the human's house is now surrounded entirely by impenetrable stone block walls. Within the walls to the north and west are corridors for possible storage, and there's a dungeon off to the southwest that we'll get to later. Above the walls are patrolways for the Sacks of Amazing, which is apparently the name of the fort guards, with, no way, chalk statues to the dashingly handsome cephalopod-headed deity Asmel, what I modelled after myself. The walkways, sorry, his handwriting is terrible, will protect from mouse. That can't be right. Moose, maybe? Snod me, how big are the moose that you need a wall this sturdy to protect you from them? And what's this? Duel? Moose duel. And remember, if you run out of funny things to say, just pretend to... oh wait, that bit's just for me. Here's where you'd think we'd be setting up to speak about the dungeon. 40 seconds solid footage at the top of this corner of the wall with nothing but the occasional cat to liven things up. Well, no. Moving on. going in blind now. The rest of the notes are expletives and threats of violence. Good for a laugh, but not much else. So, this here seems to be some kind of kitchen area. We got 4 brown kitchens and 1 golden one. Interesting. Oh, and we're following Ervad. Oh, I know this guy. Phlegm won't shut up about Hammerlock's bronze chef. I guess his was the fancy kitchen. He's got his hair tied back with a cloth. Very good of him. Normal hair in the soup is gross. Dwarven hair can be lethal. And he's rendering fat. Seems like a simple job one of the other dwarves can do. I wonder why he's doing it. Maybe I'm misremembering. Oh, now we're on to Ficod Twilight Bronze. Maybe she's the bronze chef. Legendary bone carver, but I think that just means she made an artefact. She is at least preparing a lavish meal. That does seem more like a dimension-renowned chef. And she's got her hair tied back too. Oh, off to another dwarf. This one's Athel. She's gone a step further than either of the other two and has shaved her head completely. Well, that's commitment to the job and no mistake. Preparing a lavish meal too, but she's only a dabbling cook. Alright, I think I know what Phlegm was doing here. Cullet Trade Static. Another dwarven chef willing to lose his locks to prepare food. Though, whenever you see chefs in TV shows, they do seem to have long hair, don't they? Reckon that's so they'll have ammunition for the really bad customers? Nah, probably not. Anyway, Cullet's preparing lavish meals too, and that's 4, which means we should be seeing 1 other chef. No. I don't care if his hair's held back, he's got a bloody hole in his face. 1 mistimed sneeze and the mist will ruin every meal in the kitchen. Luckily, it does seem as though he's more interested in socialising in the tavern. I'll have to have a word with Phlegm when he's back. It's just not sanitary. And what was all this for? Damned if I know. Hopefully it made more sense to you lot. This I can explain though. Datan has gone into a strange mood, which means she'll be scratching the trees around her workshop of choice, ensuring to reach as high as she can to scare off any potential rivals, and rubbing the bark with the end of her nose where sacks of a thick, glue-like substance will leave pheromone-laced tracks across the wood to inform others of her readiness to mate. Ah, wait, that might be badgers. Regardless, it's another clothier's workbench, so another article of clothing. Let's skip ahead and see what she makes. A sheep wool cap named Orotsus. Large ankles. You know, I always heard Phlegm say these artefacts were weird and put it down to my tinkering, but I couldn't have done this. This is bizarre on a level I couldn't begin to achieve. It's covered in bone, rocks, gems and wool spikes, which is barking by anyone's standards. But then there's a little picture of dwarves in wool, with a little picture of trousers in wool, bookending the central piece, which is a gypsum plate with a cat carved on it. The cat is, quote, withering away, which is not the way I would describe what appears to be a furry sock filled with wet dog food being drowned. But it's okay, because there's a lovely little bird carved next to it in shale. Now, we're following Mincott, who's the fort's broker. If you're wondering why we're following her rather than Datan, you're where I was half an hour ago. Let me catch you up. I think Phlegm's given Mincott the hat. He doesn't show her putting it on or anything, but I vaguely recall he thinks she's a breadbasket. So who better to wear what amounts to a dwarven dunce hat? That's the best I can do you. He really didn't leave me with much to work with. Such an inconsiderate deity. And with that we are pretty much done. Here you can finally see the finished dungeon in all its glory. Decorated now with the goblin that was caught in the cage trap. I can add one little bit of extra information to this because Phlegm actually told me about it. He's now realised what Captain of the Guard means and finally understands why Hammerfist was annoyed by the lack of chains. Which he's grateful for, because he was starting to think the whole dimension had been irrevocably tainted by my snoddy tentacles. And then we're back to the bronze kitchen area, where we can see that some tables and chairs have been added, with a statue planned for behind the head table. The statue was of Ervad, in bronze, So that clears that up, at least. I'm sure Phlegm will explain it all better when he gets back. And with that, we'll give it a rest. Cool, this talking for 20 minutes thing is murder on your voice. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, I'd appreciate a like, comment and subscribe. I know Phlegm would appreciate it too. Might take the sting out after his incarceration. What is it he says at the end of his videos? Oh yeah. Anus Eshon. You most wonderful of individuals. Anus Eshon.
Snodford? Does Phlegm know you're here?
Yeah, he asked me to cover for him while he's down at the DEB.
Ran out of hallucinogens again?
Yeah.
He's gonna unalive you when he gets back.
Yeah.